technology will always fail you at the worst possible moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Kendrick. There's Chris Stevens, who likes pretty girls from Philadelphia, apparently.
Pretty girls with 20 pearls. It's AKA Founders Day. Shouts out to the lovely
Oh,
ladies. Shouts out to the lovely ladies at Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. My personal favorites.
Mine's as well.
this
As a matter
Kim
of fact, the
side.
missus is out partying with her sorors as we speak. I
My
asked
mom's a
if I could
Delta, so
come,
I'm
but
not.
she said no.
My mom's a Delta, so I'm not involved in this conversation.
Well, that just passed.
Yeah.
Happy,
So happy Founders, belated Founders Day to the Deltas.
happy
Yes.
J13, Miss Kathy.
Miss Kathy.
It's happy J HBCU Sports for me. I don't have
Oh yeah, shouts out to Michael Ford in the chat. Oh yeah, except Miss Crockett. Yeah, Jasmine Crockett's a Delta. So, yeah.
That's
I'm
Chris
telling-
Girl, man.
I'm telling y'all, man. Anybody else claiming her, we gonna have to, pistols at 12 and 10 paces at dawn.
Well, I think she's married, from what I understand.
Oh, come on, man. Don't break my heart like that. Please.
I believe Jasmine Crockett is married.
It's hard enough for a pimp out here. Don't tell me my crush is married. Jeez Louise.
I think she's married.
Well, me and him going to have to square up. see if he can fight. If he gonna fight for his woman. Respectfully, of course.
There's got to be some other female politician you can rock with, man. Her name is
I gotta
Crockett.
be a politician. I can't.
Yeah, I mean, Jasmine in that realm, Jasmine Crockett's one of one, quite frankly. But I mean, Nicole Beharie isn't married, so yeah.
There's always there's a will, there's a way.
And if Shelly Ann Fraser Price ever leaves her husband, me and her gonna have to run a couple laps together.
All right. Let's just get out of here right now.
Just saying.
Yeah, so I'm supposed to say that stuff for like later on in the show, not the beginning of it. But so yeah, you guys tonight, we're gonna talk about Michael Vick getting the bag. We're gonna talk about a little college basketball, men and women, and as always, it's a Wednesday night. We're gonna lighten the mood with our off topic. This should be fun and relatable to everybody. We're gonna take a temperature, see where y'all at right now to start 2025. But first, we're gonna talk about the new head coach of Norfolk State, Michael Vick, and his contract was released. The details of it at least, and we found out that man got paid for FCS standards, by the way. Michael Vick, according to the Virginia Pilot, he will be making $400,000 a year. He will get some bonuses for winning, obviously, the MEAC, going to the Celebration Bowl, appearing in FCS playoffs, and other bonuses and perks as well. As Chris Stevens wrote yesterday, Michael Vick is the second highest paid coach in the FCS behind Mike London, former Virginia coach now at William and Mary. And his salary, Michael Vick's that is among the highest paid in the entire country for FCS coaches. So, fellas, what do you make of the contract and the bag that Norfolk State dropped? What does this say about the commitment to not only Michael Vick, but wanting to really build a football team out of irrelevancy? Starting with Chris Stevens.
To me, it says that certain universities are willing to make those concessions. The old saying goes, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. And for Norfolk State, this is a football program that has not had sustained success. I mean, again, we've talked about it. Their last official conference championship was 1984. So you're talking about a program that has not had, a rich tradition. So granted, we don't know if Michael Vick is going to be the next Jake Gaither, John Merritt, Rudy Hubbard, or if he's going to be the next Lee Hall. I don't know. But no disrespect to Coach. Again, Coach Hall is a nice guy, but it just didn't work out. But we don't know what Mike Vick is going to do, but it says that Norfolk State is willing to give this a fair shot because $400,000 to Michael Vick, to be quite honest, is like what, $50, $100 to us. You know, I mean, it doesn't make us, you know, any richer. It doesn't make us any poorer. You know, it's just some money. So, but if Michael Vick is willing to take $400,000 to come back home and try to make a local HBCU football program relevant and competitive, then it's worth a shot.
Yeah, I want to pull up actual some notable salaries from FCS coaches and how they compare to Michael Vick's $400,000. As I mentioned before, Mike London, he is feedback there. Mike London, highest paid coach, making $409,000. Mike Farley from UNI, $400,000 as well. And some notable coaches I added that all appeared in the FCS playoffs and made deep runs. Bob Nielsen for South Dakota, $340,000. Tim Polasek from North Dakota State, the national champs, $330,000. And Montana State's coach, Brett Vision, he makes just a little over $217,000. So that's kind of where Michael Vick's salary kind of falls within the hierarchy of the top paid coaches in the FCS. I know Cameron has a lot to say about this, so I'm going to let him take it away.
Well, I guess the only thing is that, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
okay. I guess I'm not surprised by the actual payout. I guess my only question is, while this may serve to Norfolk State's best interest, paying him this much, and obviously they're expecting not only wins, but they're expecting, a lot of bang for that $400,000 outside of just wins. You know, notoriety, us constantly talking about the program and so forth. But the true question has to be, as long as Mike Vick is the head coach at Norfolk State, what is Norfolk State going to do to leverage his celebrity to the long-term benefit of the football program and athletics as a whole? It does absolutely nobody any good for Norfolk State to just spend that money and not make any investment in the program. Because clearly, if you don't take advantage of this opportunity while it's there, while Mike Vick is there, and let's just say something happens, whether Mike Vick, just does a heck of a job and he ends up moving on to a new position, or he doesn't get the job done at all, and the two decide they're going to part ways, and now you're stuck with trying to hire another head coach. Then, will your program be a place that other future coaches might want to consider, to be as a spot to further their careers? Because if you don't leverage, if you don't make any necessarily improvements, whether it be facilities, budgets, whatever it is that needs upgrades, I'm sure there's always room for improvement. And I'm not saying that Norfolk State is bare bones by any means. But if you can't make any improvements as a result of this, then it's as of now, it's just basically a Band-Aid on top of a much deeper problem that will never get fixed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like, when the negotiations were going on, Norfolk State had to make some promises, not only for this salary, but the commitment they will have to building the athletic program and building the football program, and how big a part he will be in that. So you might consider it a Band-Aid. I don't think so, but I think there were some promises made on the front end to say, hey, like, if you come here, we'll do this, to make sure, like, you have a much easier time of your transition. You'll be in a position where you can actually build your program. It'll be worth your while financially to do so. So Jared Hoffman, what do you make of, the commitment Norfolk State made to Michael Vick, and kind of like, what does that say about how really they want to compete, not only in MEAC, but in the FCS at large?
I mean, they weren't going to be able to get him in the door without it. So, I mean, they did what they have to do. I don't think this is any sign at all of how committed they are to getting this program on track. It's what they do afterwards that tells me what they want to do. Like Ken said, upgrading facilities, what they do in recruitment, how far their reach is in terms of recruiting, how they compete against other schools in the state, how they compete against William and Mary, who's in the state, UVA, Virginia Tech, Hampton, Virginia Union, Virginia State, how they compete against those schools. And as Chris said, we don't know what his potential is. We don't know if he is those greats or if he's going to flop, but we'll see at the end of the day. But we know that Michael Vick is an influential name in the sport of football. We know that he is influential in the state of Virginia. And we know that he is dedicated and he has the right people in his ear. It's all about how it translates on the field and how it translates within the facilities of Norfolk State and the community in Norfolk, Virginia.
Yeah, and Ken, every time this subject comes up about coaches' salaries and how much schools commit, especially black colleges, there's always conversation, especially on our message board. Actually, one going on right now is well, are schools paying too much for these coaches? And because they may not be getting the bang for their buck, they may be paying for mediocrity in a lot of cases. People are saying, you kind of feel that way with Norfolk State, or they doing what they can, like Jared said, to get them in the door and get them committed to the school?
Well, I don't know if and I'm familiar with that argument, and there used to be an argument to be made saying that schools pay too much, but as it relates to HBCUs paying too much, but the expectations, I've come to learn that we can't necessarily make that comparison to other FCS programs because the expectations are completely different. Norfolk State and pretty much any of the HBCUs that are currently competing in the MEAC and SWAC, the big prize is winning the Celebration Bowl. That is the big prize, and I think that there are enough. I guess there are a number of administrators who are aware of paying someone, whether it be $350 and up, that's considered high. $300,000 is considered on the high end for most FCS institutions, but $400,000, I will give Norfolk State the benefit of the doubt in believing that if they're going to pay Michael Vick $400,000, there's going to be more than $400,000 ROI long term for while he's there. So it really is about the expectations at the HBCU level or at the FCS. The expectation for schools that compete at the MEAC and the SWAC level are completely different from the North Dakota states and the Montana states of the world. And look, hell, you look at that run. Who was it? Was it Montana State and North Dakota State, right? That played in the FCS finals.
Yep.
Now we all know those schools made no money whatsoever making that run. That was a complete, there was no profit made other than the notoriety of winning the national championship. But I think it's safe to say North Dakota State and Montana State being the so-called, flagship schools. And in the case of North Dakota State, it's been said all of the time that North Dakota State is a FBS program wearing an FCS costume, because look, they're in the run, they're in the hunt every single year. The expectations are just different at HBCUs. So whether it be Jackson State paying, wasn't Deion Sanders something like $400,000, something along the lines? Michael Vick is $400,000. Hugh Jackson was getting something like $400,000, whatever the amount was. There's a expectation with each of those programs in which there is a expected ROI that can easily be recovered by paying the coaches that much.
I'm thinking when you paying Michael Vick $400K, you expect him to compete for championship right away, because I'm gonna bring this back up here. You see the coaches that are making the money they make, and all of these coaches are competing for national championships. So the message I get from that is they expect Norfolk State not only win the MEAC, but compete for obviously the Celebration Bowl. If they don't make the playoffs, don't make the Celebration Bowl, be conditioned to compete in the playoffs. So they definitely raised the bar by this salary compared to the salary you see on the screen right here. Like, is the expectation too high for Michael Vick, based on the salary, or they had to pay him that just to get him in the door?
Yeah, but I'm not saying that they aren't within their right to expect winning, that he wins right now. Absolutely. All I'm simply saying is that if they're paying that much money, and that, again, that's state money as well, and the higher ups have to approve that. Everybody is on board that some way, somehow, this $400,000 that we're paying Michael Vick, we are going to get more than $400,000 in return in some form or fashion, provided that all goes as we expected. And yes, we expect to win this year going forward. Or at the very least, we expect things to improve from what they were in previous under previous coaching staffs. That's more than fair to ask of Michael Vick at this point.
It's surprising they gave him that much money, being a legitimate first-time head coach anywhere ever.
No, because I guess the market has already been set. You know, again, I just told you what we paid Deion Sanders. What Jackson State paid Deion Sanders. You know, we saw what Grambling paid Hugh Jackson, which was still too much. I believe. Who else just recently left? FAMU. Willie Simmons. I think he was making what 325. So
Somewhere
the market
around
has been set, you know, and I'll be honest with you, I'll be interested to learn what Delaware State is going to pay Deshaun Jackson when that information comes out. So the market has the price has been set, and $400,000 at this point, I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah. So Jared, are you like surprised that they would give him that much money? I know you mentioned like, well, they had to like entice him with that salary to get him in the door, because apparently he had some interest elsewhere, and knowing him, he had like many opportunities to either stay in television or do something different. So are you surprised that like Norfolk State all play so like this type of money?
No, because he's there. It would have been more surprising if they offered him that much and he didn't go. So of course I'm not surprised that he's there. Like, what they are they're in a point in time where they are desperate. Norfolk State, as Chris has alluded to many times when we talked about Norfolk State, they haven't won a conference championship in almost 40 years. So they have to do something. They've only had one winning season in the past 10 years or something like that, when they had Jawan Carter at quarterback. So they have to do something. They've just been meddling in the MEAC. They've just been one of the teams in the MEAC, not one of the best teams in the MEAC, one of the teams in the MEAC. So they have to do something to put themselves in a place where they can be relevant. And this was the best possible move they can make, with somebody who has ties to the state, is a legend, not only in the state of Virginia, but a legend in the game of football. And so, no, I'm not at all surprised that they had to pay this much, because that's the only way they could have possibly gotten him in the door. I know he says that it's more than the money, it's bigger than the money and all that type of stuff, but they offered you it. It ain't like you said, it ain't like if you would have went there if they was offering you $40.
Right. 400,000? Oh, that's too much. No, I can't take that much.
Give me $4 and you good. Please. He wasn't going to do that.
Oh, yeah, that's too much.
Everybody that say, oh, I wasn't doing it for the money, them the people that's getting 7 figures. It's always them people. Man, it ain't about the money. Give me $400,000 and I'm in.
Everybody doing it for the money to some degree, though.
Exactly.
Yeah. You got to eat. Some people just eat better than others. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. That's what it is, though. Like, you see it, even at the FBS level, like the high-end coaches that we all know, the household names, like, they ain't turning down no money. They're trying to get everything they can get.
It's just like us. We love covering HBCU Sports. We love giving coverage to our institutions and building up the players and coaches and everybody involved with each institution. But we ain't gonna do it for free every single time. We'll I ain't about to say that, but that money is important. As with any content creator. Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
With that in mind, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be sure to become a level 1 or level 2 member. You can also donate to us at hbcusports.com/donate. Or if you would like to go the Zelle route, go to Zelle and type in donate at hbcusports.com. All of your dollars greatly are appreciated and can continue this operation. There we go.
Thanks for that.
He's going to be the guy doing that going forward. He does it so much better than I do.
He does. He certainly does. He certainly does. While we're on the topic of like this, last week Kim couldn't make the show because he's the boss. He gets to miss shows when he wants to. But he was indignant in the chat about Delaware State cheating. And I want to explain to people why you think Delaware State cheated.
Did I say that?
Yes, you just said that. You emphasized it was in capital letters.
Okay. I don't say that. I didn't say that they cheated. I think this is a private conversation, and you dare bring that up, make me the villain. How dare you, Kendrick Marshall? I think the term I was referring to was that both Norfolk State and Delaware State cheated the process in relying upon individuals to lead their football programs without any prior coaching experience at the college level. That's all. And I just thought that at some point that has to still mean something. If you value your program, it has to mean something. I understand. Look, people, and I get it. Overall, we're kind of going away from that. I mean, you know, there are organizations, not HBCUs, you know, there are professional organizations that are making such hires. You know, look at the damn Lakers. You know, just they got a coach. He never coached a day in his life that I'm aware of. And look at him now. You know, they weren't looking for anyone stellar. They were looking for whatever it was that they're looking for, but it wasn't about wins.
They wanted podcasters, Ken. That's what they wanted.
They wanted podcasters, you know, and then look, well, now we got mediocrity, you know. I'm brings a tear to my eyes to think about my beloved Lakers. But anyway, but we've seen this before. You know, the NFL was kind of making these young splash hires. You know, the Cardinals went and hired some guy from Texas Tech. We saw how that turned out.
Cliff Kingsbury.
Because everybody wanted to be like the LA Rams.
They wanted a Sean McVay.
Let's go McVay, some young, slick, great-looking guy who's pot to the white chicks and who's just, you know, not a whole lot of experience, but everybody wants a McVay, and they're getting these young cats, you know, and it got people scratching their heads. So I get it. We all want to experiment, but at some point, you more often than not, I understand it was a huge success with what Jackson State did with Deion Sanders, and it's a huge success with Colorado, what Deion Sanders did with Jackson State and Colorado, and possibly the Dallas Cowboys. But I'm just saying. But everybody can't do that. But you still have to look at the merits of an individual. You have to just, you know, experience has to matter. I think Terrence Graves said it better than anyone, man. We're told that you got to work hard. You got to put in you got to put in the work. And then if you want to get to a certain level, you got to put in the necessary work to get to that level. And then when you put in the work and then you're looking for an opportunity that's there, that's potentially in reach. And then someone, because of their name and supposed cachet, hops in front of you just because of the name behind it. You know,
if I may, I have a really quick story before we move on to the next subject. I know that we want to vet all of our hires and different things, but you have to give. I feel like HBCUs. Tiffany Dawn Sykes made this point actually, that HBCUs are kind of known for giving people on the outside fringes opportunities. And I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not like Mike Vick. I mean, yes, Mike Vick and Deshaun Jackson have questionable histories to some people, but those of us who grew up around those areas, we know everybody. We know somebody who's dope at what they do, but they still dabble in the streets every once in a while. But these guys are Vick's 44, Deshaun's 38. They've matured. We can move on from that. But wow, my throat just shacked up on me. But yeah, real quick. My first newspaper job that when I left Delaware in 2007, I went to work for a weekly paper in St. Mary's County, Maryland. And black people, don't you ever go to St. Mary's County, Maryland a day in your life. Do not. Jared Hoffman knows what I'm talking about. But yes, the publisher of our paper, his father literally bought his degree for Maryland College Park. And he didn't know his behind from a hole in the ground, much less a newspaper. But the rival newspaper, they had people who worked in newspapers for 20-something years who were like paper boys and paper girls in high school, and their operation was much better run. So a degree or whatever pedigree that results from education doesn't always make for a great leader. Vic and Deshaun have life experience and football experience and cultural experience that these young men covet. So I say that, yes, it does feel like they skipped the line a little bit, but both of these schools in question, Delaware State, Norfolk State, they need something, and it's worth a shot. And that's just my.
I was just reminded. Sorry to cut you off, Chris. I was just reminded. Someone made this. That's what the initial argument was. Also, Kendrick was. Yeah, they didn't. They had next to no experience, but at the same time, unless I'm wrong, but in my little checking of the internet, neither one has a college degree. And again, that's something that at the very least, at the college level, that they're not going to say HBCUs, but that colleges at the very least ask for. As a matter of fact, now that you say that, Kendrick, remember I shared you the article. I shared you a link to an article of a school who had, he was the interim. And I think they wanted to make him the interim coach did like a phenomenal job. It was at a Division III school, I think, and went off and did a phenomenal job for the time that he was there. And I think they wanted to make him the head coach, but the president said, you know what, we can't make him the head coach because he doesn't have a degree. And the position requires a college degree. And I think that's the point that I was initially trying to make, in addition to the fact of neither one having the experience. But, here we are, 4-year institutions with a focus on education, focus on graduation. Now, granted, I understand people may have their own unique opinions about the higher education system and the value and so forth. Is it worth the dollar that we spend? That's another debate for another day. But at the same time, though, these are institutions who pride themselves on being able to educate the very people who invest in the university to do so. And so while you may require college degrees from the individuals who teach in the classrooms, English, mathematics, and computer science professors, we require degrees from them, but you can't require a degree from your head football coach? I'm just saying, I think that's problematic.
I'm just saying, like, it don't matter, because to me, and I get your argument, Ken, like, and I looked this up too, like, the majority of the coaching jobs, whether they be assistant coaches or head coaches, the majority of them require at least a bachelor's degree to be considered for the position, to apply to the position.
Yeah, it's written in the job description.
Yeah, and very few would say, well, we require a bachelor's degree or whatever equal experience you might have in a particular field. Maybe you were a player like Michael Vick or Deshaun Jackson was. So they could supersede whatever a degree you have. But schools can and jobs for in any industry, they can make whatever requirements they want to for jobs. Like some require degrees, some
can't. True. You absolutely right.
So I'm not pressed about this at all.
Okay.
If they want to hire these folks, let them hire them, man. Because obviously they feel like it's a benefit to their school, it's a benefit to their program to have these two names in particular associated with them. So I got no problem with it at all. And it may be like skipping a line, or maybe like overlooking the normal process. But at the end of the day, like, schools gonna look up what's in their best interest. And like sometimes that may not be going the path like everybody else does. So there's room for Michael Vick. There's room for Deshaun Jackson if they want to coach football at these schools. But at the end of the day, they're trying to make money and they're trying to win. If they can make more money and maybe win sometimes, they're helpful too. But yeah, like, I got no problem with it.
Okay, and let me just end on this note, because it's my show and I get to have the last say.
It's your
All
show.
I get to say. All I will say is this. No, your point is valid. So like you said, if they want to hire Deshaun Jackson or if they want to hire Mike Vick, they are well within their right to do so, who don't have college degrees. But would those schools be willing to hire Joe Blow or Sam I Am if they didn't have one? That's the only argument that I'm making. And I'm guessing the answer is no.
They probably would, because like, as we all know, like, these two guys were not the only coaches hired during this cycle. There were plenty of coaches who were hired in this cycle who had college degrees, who came from a black college football background, who had no problem getting a job, and we all celebrated it.
Okay, fair enough.
I won the argument, y'all.
No, you didn't. I'm just shutting up because we got to move on.
All right. Enough of this football stuff. We're talking about basketball. And so I came across the ESPN latest edition of their bracketology for women's college basketball. I was curious to see where Norfolk State and Jackson State, North Carolina A&T kind of fell within their projections of where they'll be seated in the tournament. As you all know, Norfolk State having a fantastic start to the season. They're undefeated in the MEAC. They have some notable wins in non-conference play, particularly against SEC schools. North Carolina A&T, same thing, phenomenal start to their regular season as well, undefeated in the CIAA. Jackson State also undefeated in the SWAC. So I did some checking and I saw this horrible thing. So according to ESPN, their bracketology that came out this week, they have Jackson State and North Carolina A&T, two undefeated teams in their conference as 16 seeds who will play each other in the first four. You can see down below you have Norfolk State as a 13 seed playing in North Carolina, all in the same region. To me, that's unfair, especially for Norfolk State. They had a fabulous season so far. They had some really good wins, particularly on the road, and to put them at a 13 seed is not fair. We all know it's a business struggle for black college basketball teams, whether they be men or women, to get the appropriate seed based on their resumes. I know Jackson State, the fabulous season they had last year, they were only able to get a 13 seed and had to play against UConn, one of the greatest basketball programs on the women's side of all time in the very first round. They avoided the play-in, but gosh, you had to play UConn the first game on the road at UConn. So fellas, what do we make of this travesty here with all three of these schools in the position they're in, these projected-wise, to determine where to start today, starting with Chris Stevens?
Norfolk State is the only undefeated team other than South Carolina in the Southeastern Athletic Conference. They've beat Auburn on the road. They've beat Missouri on the road. You're telling me that 2 SEC wins from an HBCU is worth only a 13? I don't buy it. And if you can look through the history books, an HBCU at the guys or girls level has never gotten anything above a 14 ever. From when the tournament expanded to 64 teams in 1985. So we are talking about that whole thing about you have to be twice as good to get half of what they got. It still applies today to everything we do, even in basketball. And North Carolina A&T being a 16 is blasphemous to me because people like to talk about the Coastal Athletic Association as one of those sleeper mid-majors. So why, if North Carolina A&T, who is 4-0 right now, they're 2 games ahead of Drexel, and they've beaten their fair share of coastal schools already. So why is your mid-major underrated mid-major a 16? Jackson State, I don't understand that either because we saw how good they were last year, and they're continuing that under Margaret Richards. Their SWAC winning streak to date right now is at 21 games. So if you're telling me that Jackson State, North Carolina A&T are on the same level as, say, a A10 an A10 at large or a Conference USA winner or an American Conference at large. I don't buy it one bit. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Jared Hoffman, your thoughts?
Well, I personally think they're being punished for the teams that they beat. Missouri and Auburn, they're both 0-4 in SEC play. You know, I think that Shaw being on their schedule doesn't help very much. I don't think it helps very much that the next game on their schedule is, as Chris calls them, the Bishop Sycamore of Black college sports. I think those go against them. And, you know, they have the loss to Green Bay and Wyoming. They lost to Alabama and they lost to North Carolina. All those teams have winning records. Although Alabama and North Carolina are nationally ranked teams. So I personally feel like 13 is very good compared to what we've seen in the past, but I think they could have went down to at least 11 or 10, you know, based on what Norfolk State has done, you know, throughout the season. But to be fair, we're close to the situation because we cover Norfolk State. There's a lot of teams that we don't cover that we can't see their resumes. So it's kind of unfair to because we only have one side of it. But to me, it's not as insulting as I think it could have been, which they could have gave them 15 or 16. So
I think it's insulting.
It's insulting, but it's not as insulting as we've seen in years past. You know, I think I definitely thought they could have went down to 10 personally. I thought they could have went down to 10 for me personally for Norfolk State. But hey, that's why we play the games. I think that I think there's a great opportunity for Norfolk State to pull off an upset in the tournament. Should they get through the conference, they still got to get through the conference. If they don't get through the conference, none of this conversation matters. You know, so they got to get through the conference. They got to win the regular season. They got to win the postseason, and they got to get to the tournament for it to matter. But at this moment, I thought they could have done better by Norfolk State, the incredible start that they've had.
Well, thank God. I was just going to say,
on the projection, it's not like today they're going to put them in the tournament as number 13 seed, but it just goes to show you like the amount of respect or like the like national media kind of like has for Black college basketball. My opinion. Go ahead, Ken.
No, I wouldn't disagree. I wouldn't totally disagree with that, but it's incomplete. I feel like there's no respect for mid-major college basketball, really. There never has been. You know, that's why the upsets, they act like it's a bunch of children who just scored on a grown man for the first time. That's how they treat mid-majors when they get upsets in the tournament. They make it seem like, oh, those little kids over there, there's no way they can come. They're gonna come over here. They're gonna get the doors blown off of them, and the big team is gonna go on, and they're gonna have a run in the tournament. And we gonna get the mid-majors out the way in the first round, and so we can get to the big boys in the second round on the Sweet 16 and all that. So I feel like it's more of mid-major college basketball than it is just Black college basketball. But I'm not saying there isn't any disrespect on Black college basketball, but I feel like it's mid-major basketball as a whole that they don't respect. And that's why we have to get those upsets in the tournament for them to take us seriously and let them know that we could potentially be a threat to you if you play with us.
Yeah, true. Ken, you want to say something?
No, I was just going to say that I don't know who, you know, thank God that this isn't something that's done by the selection committee. But I do wonder how much sway do these experts have with the committee? You know, are they some way, somehow kind of like monitoring what these so-called experts are saying with the intent on making their job that much easier once it comes down to tournament time and they've got to start seeding some of these schools? You know, because right now, I guess my only comment to that is, thank goodness these so-called bracketology topics or conversations or articles aren't being published by the selection committee. because there's still a lot of we've just started conference play. It's a lot of basketball to play. Now, granted, I guess it's easy for them to come to that conclusion because of the non-conference and a lot of that is going to, the non-conference opponents and wins and so forth. Non-conference play is going to have an impact once they get down to selection time. But, there's still a lot to be said about maybe just how dominant Norfolk State might be in the MEAC the rest of the way, as well as tournament time. But, I guess I just don't really put a whole lot into that, given where we are at this point.
Yeah, and Charles McClellan, I'm reminded of what he said. He's the chairman of the men's Division I basketball committee. He always mentions how important it is for the entire conference to be good in non-conference play, especially against Quad 1 and Quad 2 opponents, which are your numbers 1 through 75 teams in the country. And that's kind of where those performances will bring down a team like Norfolk State in the eyes of the committee or in the eyes of somebody who's doing a bracketology bracket. They may say, well, they're the best in the MEAC, but the MEAC kind of is not that good outside of maybe those 1 or 2 teams that may be at the top of the standings. So it's very imperative that these schools collectively be good in non-conference play and don't all schedule Power 4 schools and take a beating that way, which will obviously hurt the RPI and hurt the schedule, stuff like that. So when it's time for selection Sunday to come around, your best team will have a better shot to get a 10 seed, 11 seed, or 12 seed, not be in the play-in or not be a number 16 seed, have to play on the road in the first round. So I'm not happy about this still. I mean, it's probably going to stick out like this anyway, because Norfolk State is likely going to win the MEAC, and they're probably going to not move up or move down from the 13 seed. Let's say lose a game here or there, which I don't anticipate them doing. But yeah, it's unfortunate. The coaches got to beg and plead to the committee, hey, treat us like you treat everybody else, which in cases that they don't do that. It's just unfortunate that way. But any final thoughts on this? We move on.
I guess I will say this. I am a little surprised, and not that I follow them a whole lot, but I know that A&T has had a great season up to this point, and they've got them in a position for a play-in.
Yeah, 16 seed.
That's what I'm saying, for a 16 seed. I don't understand that.
And they were good last year too.
Yeah, but I don't understand how I just, like I said, man, and I will say this, I'm pretty certain just because of how it would look, I don't think the selection committee would be foolish enough to put A&T and Jackson State in the play-in game.
They've done it before. They've done it before.
For the women?
Well, for the men, they've done it on the men's side.
What two HBCUs played against each other in the play-in game?
Well, when it was just 2 teams to the 4 teams, it would mostly be 2 black colleges in their first in their play-in game.
No, but I'm talking about playing against each other though in the play-in.
Yeah,
I've done that before. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the men's side, I can't remember the teams. I feel like
someone in the chat put that in. If they did, I forgot. What two NCAA HBCU? Because I guess so. You're saying there was somebody from the MEAC and was somebody from the SWAC that played against each other and playing?
I think Texas Southern and Hampton played against each other one year.
I think it was. I feel like Texas Southern was one of them.
Okay. If someone in the chat knows, man, put that in there because I don't. If it did happen, I don't recall.
Yeah, but it has happened in the past, though. I'll definitely remember that.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
fair enough.
It got widely criticized, but why y'all only putting the black colleges in the play-in tournament and not any other conference that doesn't have representatives?
I stand corrected. Okay, move on.
Telling me to move on. Okay, I'll move on. Yeah.
I said I stand corrected.
It was Texas Southern and North Carolina Central in 2018.
Okay. All right. See, now you say that, I do remember that now. Okay.
Yeah, sticking with basketball, the best team in the SWAC is Southern University. They have been dominating in conference play. I know Kim Rashad don't like to hear that.
What are you talking about? He sounds excited. He sounds ecstatic.
Look at him. Look at his face.
Man, look at him. So jovial.
Yeah, look at him. Can't contain himself.
He look like a kid in the candy store. Come on, man.
I
Yeah,
have been
Southern is 4-0 in the SWAC. They were picked to finish third in the preseason rankings. That work out. Yeah, they dominated Florida A&M last time out. They won by 25 plus points. They've been playing some really good ball so far, and look to be the favorite to win the conference. Though Texas Southern always lurking around. They got these slow starts, and then all of a sudden they turn it on during conference play. They almost did it last year though, but Grambling held them off. So what do you think about the start from Southern so far? Starting with Jared.
Well, I haven't been able to follow Southern as closely as because obviously you guys dubbed me as the Division II guy, but like, but I think the thing that I really like about what Southern has done so far this season is that there's no one guy. You know, they are the very definition of what a team is. If you look at the numbers for Southern, they have like 6-7 guys who are averaging at least 6 points per game. They do it by committee. There's no I within that group. It's we within them. You know, they're extremely well coached. They're playing extremely well. And I just they're playing like a team that is extremely motivated. And it's going to be interesting to see what their peak could be going forward, you know, because obviously Grambling is a basketball school. They've been a basketball school for so long that we got to – no, I'm just kidding. No, we got – Grambling is always going to be a threat. As long as Johnny Jones is the coach of Texas Southern, they're going to be a problem in the SWAC tournament. So that we're always going to have to keep Texas Southern in the rear view. But I love the way that they're playing right now, and the sky's the limit for what they can do if they stick to the game plan.
Chris Stevens, your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I mean, I know this is about Southern, but I'm just completely nonplussed at how slow Grambling has started. Like 0-3. Like this was the best story in mid-major college basketball last year, and they have just fallen off of a cliff. I don't know if it's injuries. I don't know if it's the portal. I don't know if it's hangover from last year, but I'm just absolutely stunned. But going back to Southern, they do a lot of things well. For number one, they only turn the ball over. Their turnover margin is something like plus 3.5. They only turned over 12.5 times. They forced 16 turnovers. They currently lead the SWAC in rebound margin and points scored against. They have the lowest points scored against in the SWAC. So when you're able to defend and take care of the ball, two very important things in basketball, you're going to go a long way. So this Southern team, they don't have that McClendon style, discipled in the late great Dr. Ben Jobe, but they still play a very, where they don't get up and down the court, but they still play a very, team, like Jared said, they're team oriented. They take care of the ball, they rebound, they defend. Gonna be hard to beat a team that does all of those things. So it'll be interesting to see, because it feels like, Johnny Jones is going to be having Texas Southern lurking around. Seems like Reggie Theus actually has Bethune-Cookman playing at a good pace right now.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
So you can't discount Bethune-Cookman either, but right now Southern has to be the favorite because they're playing the best of anybody in the SWAC right now.
Yeah, Kim Scott, what is wrong with Grambling? First your football team is falling off, now your basketball team is suffering. What's up with them, man?
I thought we were talking about Southern, but since you brought it up, Grambling is 4-13 right now.
Yeah.
And it had such a promising start. And I remember that game with Ole Miss, and it went down to the wire. And they gave USC hell when he went out there and played in it. And I was like, oh, yeah. And then we made another trip out to LA and we played Pepperdine, man. We lost a bit. Oh, it's just been disastrous the entire time. But there's a lot of basketball games to be played. I'm optimistic. We beat peas and carrots.
I feel so bad for Patrick Curry because he going after this year.
We beat peas and carrots, so that was encouraging. And the women are struggling too. So all I'm gonna say is this: enjoy it while you can, Southern, because we're coming. We're coming. But Kendrick, I don't know why we're where we are, or why we are where we are. But There's a lot of basketball to be played, and it's all about the tournament anyway, right?
Yeah, Grambling next conference game is ironically enough against Southern.
Yeah, no.
So, this weekend.
To be fair to Grambling, last year they were 6-11 at this time, and they ended up going 20-14. So you never know.
But we beat peas and carrots, so that's encouraging.
Yeah, man, spike basketball is always unpredictable. Like, you never know who's going to be on top at the end of that. Like, say last year, Grambling had a slow start. They won the whole thing and won a tournament game in March, and were the darlings of the tournament. This year, not so much. But you never know, Ken. They could bounce back. It could be the year of the Tiger.
I said that last year.
It could be the year of the Tiger for sure.
Anyway.
All right, enough sports now. We got that out of the way on a Wednesday night. As we do every Wednesday night, we have off-topic, something outside of sports, or something outside of Black college sports. And this year, well, this day, I thought, okay, it's 15 days into the new year. And so I know most of the people listening and watching us probably has something or some things they wanted to accomplish. Why's everybody laughing, man? What's so funny?
You couldn't have picked a man to climb them steps.
They don't have the one for the man.
All due respect to the beautiful lady depicted in this picture. But
that damn meme is hilarious, man. So
I have no complaints, Kendrick. I think you did an excellent job.
It's a cartoon, Ken. It's not a real person. But anyway,
I didn't say. I just said it was an excellent job. What are you talking about?
Nothing, man. All right,
you picked this.
I know. But anyway, like, the meme itself is like, they use it every year where the woman walks up steps and makes goals about, how to improve herself, what she's gonna leave behind in the next year, what she's gonna accomplish in the year upcoming. So I'm pretty sure a lot of you people watching and listening to us have similar types of goals. You want to lose weight, you want to sleep better, you want to eat better, you want to like walk 1,000 steps, you want to travel, do all these things. And it's 15 days into the new year, and studies have shown that about this point in January, people just give up on whatever their New Year's goal is for that year. Now, I want to throw this out to everybody in the chat and to my panel as well. Like, it's a new year. Are y'all still on track for y'all goals? Or y'all just quit and gave up so far? Start with Kim Rashad.
Well, I haven't given up. Just 15 days into the new year. However, I can say this, though. This time last year, I was poor. Right now, I'm po. So I'm encouraged. Oh, new year to make. No, man. You know what? Seriously, I don't make New Year's resolutions. I don't, because of my mindset is just maybe try to end off the new year better than you started it, But there's so many factors that go into that, There are things that you have no control over that happen, and it all depends on how you deal with those unexpected occurrences when they do happen. But as far as goals, I mean, look, I'm still focused. I'm still determined. So, it is a new year, but I don't know if it's necessarily the same me. But I'm optimistic with what could possibly happen this year.
Any like motivational things you do or say to yourself to try to get you motivated to stay on track?
Well, Kendrick, I mean, I guess every month that passes in which you don't ask me for more money is a good month.
What got me about me for?
Well, I'm saying you are, your well-being is my, I feel kind of responsible for that, man. I'm just saying. But when you're saying, hey, man, I didn't sign up for this and now you want me to do this, you're going to pay me, I'm just saying,
Lord have mercy.
So it's definitely the same use. Coming 2025 with these same shots at me, man. It's supposed to be a changed man. But anyway, Chris Stevens, your thoughts on this? Are you like on track? Now, Chris Stevens, now I follow him on social media. If you don't know, like he's been in Planet Fitness every day, running and getting in shape and trying to get more healthy. He's inspiring to a lot of people that's familiar with the story. I don't know if Chris Stevens, man, is still on track to accomplish everything you want to accomplish in 2025.
I am actually. I've been to the gym 4 days a week every first couple weeks of the year. For those of you who are not familiar with my story, your boy used to weigh 400 pounds. I was really depressed. I was down on myself. In 2018, I said, bleep it. We are losing this weight. I got down to 215 at one point. I'm teetering the edge of 275 now. So I want to get back to about 225, 230, because that's where I felt like, I was, nobody could tell me anything. So I'm going to work on getting this 40 or 50 off. And so far, I've been in the gym every day this week. I'm going to start, putting together a meal program for myself so I can stop, dabbling in these sweets and, visiting my favorite cheesesteak place once a week, start eating more at home. And there is one thing that I do want to, that I am trying to improve upon. And Ken Rashad has helped me greatly with that. And that's my, my own podcast. If you guys are not familiar, I have a YouTube channel, and Ken was like, people want to get the audio component as well. I mean, yeah, it's nice that you have a YouTube, but people can't be locked into YouTube all the time. So I finally opened up a Spreaker account for my YouTube show. It is now officially a podcast called Chris's 2 Cents with Chris Stevens, because I give my 2 cents on everything: music, sports, dating, society. If you guys want to, check that out, you can find me. I'll drop it in the chat because
put it in the chat, Chris. Y'all go and subscribe to that channel too, because I'm telling you, he's got an episode right now on the Luther Vandross documentary. And I don't know if you guys saw that on CNN. It was very well produced. But if you guys know anything about Chris Stevens and the music industry, the brother knows his stuff and can provide you with some backstories and make you like, what? Really? So
yeah. I mean, I have fun on that channel. I share stories about my journalism career, my weight loss journey, even my dating life, which is non-existent at this point. Hopefully that'll change in 2025 as well. But yeah, Ken has really been instrumental in me, working on my personal brand. And, so far, so good. So those are the two main things that I'm on track with. And as far as just, staying motivated, I keep a journal. I encourage everybody to write something once a week, whether it's about yourself, whether it's about your job, whether it's somebody you love, somebody you hate, just write it out, get it out there. And, also, write something nice about yourself. Affirmations. My therapist at the time used to say, you talk every time we talk, you talk about the bad. I'm gonna make you write something good about yourself. I'm like, I know there's nothing good about myself. But then when I started writing, I was like, okay, I see where she's coming from. So write some affirmations about yourself. It can be the most mundane of things. You can say, wow, my hair looked good today. That's not a problem I have. But if you have great hair, say you have great hair. If you were nice to somebody, if you open the door for somebody today, say, yo, I opened the door for somebody. I have a kind spirit. Write all the good stuff about yourself. Add it all up and go forward.
That's pretty inspiring words. I'm gonna be like AJ Browner and have like a book of affirmations with me everywhere I go and reference it in my downtime. But no, seriously. Jared Hoffman, are you on track to accomplish all your goals this year, man?
Well, first of all, I know we're supposed to be off sports, but I got to talk my talk because my Bowie State Bulldogs just beat Howard.
So, what?
Is it nice? 76-73. Eat your heart out, Blake Harper, Mr. Freshman Sensation. No, I'm just playing. I'm joking. But yes, no autographs, please. No pictures. I know we're famous right now. We're the talk of the town. But please, I'm trying to be humble about this. Like I don't like to brag.
Oh, no, brother, flex. Go ahead and flex.
No, that is a major upset too. It really is.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
I just had to point that out before I got into my spiel. As far as what I want to do for the year, just advance more into my career. I'm trying to get like YouTube star Chris Stevens and get into my content creation bag. yeah, just trying to focus more into building my brand and thinking more positively about, you know, my circumstances and how my life is going right now. You know, a couple of years ago, somebody said something to me that really I got away from, that I need to get back onto, is that there will be a million good things that happen in your life before anything bad happens.
Mm.
It's all about the way that we think about it. You know, we're all alive today. We woke up. We all talk. We're all able to hear. We're all able to have food on our tables. We all have clean water or water in general. You know, it's all about what you think about it. So we're so focused on the big things like money. We're all thinking about the luxury items and all of that stuff, that we think that because we don't have that, our life isn't good. But it's all about what you have. It's all about what you can see. It's all about the perspective that you have about your life that determines the mindset that you have, whether it be positive or negative. You know what I mean? A lot of us still have families in our lives. A lot of us have friends in our lives who love us and that shower us with praise. Some of us have significant others and children who love us and who we are able to give love to. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things that we have as people that a lot of people could look at us and would be envious of us. We're so focused on being envious of people who don't know us, people who are anomalies, people like Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates and Jay-Z, who are 1 in a million. Those people don't come along a lot in your lifetime. You got to focus on what you have and what your family has that they have given you, because that's what breeds positivity in your life, and that's what will put you on the right path to achieving your goals and to achieving the happiness, just simple happiness. That's why a lot of people go through mental health problems and anxiety and depression and feelings of being unloved and wanting to, trigger warning, unalive yourself, because we compare ourselves to people who can't compare. That I saw something on a video that said comparison is the thief of joy. And because we always compare ourselves to each other, like for example, like if we, I don't say that we do this, but say we compared ourselves to ESPN. That's not realistic. It's not realistic. Compare yourself. You don't have to compare yourself at all. Compare yourself to yourself, because that's realistic. That's something that you can achieve. That's something that you can move towards. You know what I'm saying? Like stop comparing yourself to people who are on the rear view that have nothing to do with your circumstances. Focus on what you have, focus on what you can achieve, and if you can, then it will all fall into place through God's will. If it doesn't, then continue to work hard and think positively, and it could happen. But yeah, I guess with that spiel, I'm on the right path because I'm thinking positively at this point. Hopefully it doesn't change, and hopefully I continue to be in this positive mindset and don't fall back into, old habits where and the reason why I can say all that is because I used to do that. I used to compare myself to people that weren't, who I had no reason comparing myself to. I was comparing myself to people whose circumstances weren't like mine, so yeah, hopefully I continue to stay on this right path, but for right now, I'm good.
And Jerry Hoffman always with some wise words of wisdom.
I know he's the youngest guy on here. Just be kicking old bars like an old man.
I know, man.
Cut it out.
No, man. Like for me, like I don't normally have any like New Year's resolutions because I think they're kind of silly. But I do can relate to people who want to put themselves in a different place or have a different mindset and want to set a goal or goals for like a period of time or a year. And like for me, I had to like understand like everything's a process. Like you can set out how many ever goals you want, and you want to accomplish them at XYZ time or whatever it is. But like you gotta understand like every day is not gonna be great. You're not gonna be your best all the time, and you're gonna have some wins. You're gonna definitely have some losses. You just gotta keep pushing forward no matter what happens. And so like I want to be more appreciative of everything this year. Like being a dad, like for the first time last year, kind of like put kind of life from this perspective. I was looking at my son today. He's 18 months. I was like, he's got taller. Like I'm around him like every single day because I get to work from home, so I'm blessed to do that. But like to see him grow up from like birth to like now is amazing. Like and see the progress he made in every facet of his little life. Like he can say words now. He can run. He can climb stairs. He can go down the stairs. He can like throw things around the house, like little baseballs, things like that. But like it's cool to see him grow up and like just like seeing the world through his little eyes and be like he has like no cares in the world right now. He's just like 1 year old, living his life, playing with his toys, watching Miss Rachel, reading books, like he's having fun as a kid. And I'm like, if I could be like that every single day, that would be a blessing. I know we all like have our adult words and everything like that, but like being put in perspective, like, hey, just make the most of your day. Do what makes you happy, like a little 1 year old. I think we'll be better off with that perspective. So that's kind of I'm going to approach life because I know like we're all on this panel very blessed to be where we are. We may not be where we want to be right now, but we're definitely appreciative like the business that we're in right now because like without this platform, like our voices wouldn't be heard. We wouldn't be able to do the work we do, not only for ourselves, but for like the people that we want to do the work for, and all the great athletes and coaches that we get to cover and speak to all the time is an amazing experience. Like being able to cover the Celebration Bowl, being able to like cover media days and go to these football games and basketball games. Like a lot of people would trade their positions for ours right now. So I always got to keep that in the back of our mind. Like no matter the tough days, no matter how busy we are, we can always be appreciative. Like, hey, like we get to do something that's pretty cool and get to like share it with the world. So that's where I'm at right now with that. And with that being said, Chris Stevens, close it out, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank y'all for watching and listening to us as always. If you feel so compelled, you can go to hbcusports.com/donate to donate to keep this operation going. If you want to go the Zelle route, feel free to use donate at hbcusports.com. Also become a subscriber of this channel, become a level 1 or level 2 member. You can get all the HBCU sports information fit to print and broadcast as we like to give it to you guys. We appreciate everything that you guys are able to do, with, respect to, giving us views, giving us clicks, but, views and clicks, we need them coins behind it as well. So if you guys would donate, we would greatly appreciate it. But yes, subscribe, donate, and we can keep this operation going.
And let me just say this. January 17th is my birthday in 2 days. So your donations, look, I'm not joking. I'm not joking. Kendrick is not cheap. Kendrick is not cheap.
Wait a minute. How you come about me again? Wait a minute. It's your birthday.
Hey, man, I'm trying to help you get paid. What are you talking about? Donate to the channel, please. Donate. Okay. Also, shout out to my girl, Michelle Obama. She was like, I'm staying in Hawaii. Michelle, you want to go with me to the funeral? Is Donna going to be there? I think so. Hell no.
She's tired. She's tired of going high.
She was like, She said, when they go high, I go low. But she said, in this case, I'm staying put.
You know what's hey, you know what's funny? My job, where I work, Capital One Arena, where the Wizards play, they have an event on the 19th. It's a Trump rally. Guess who's not working that?
Oh wow!
Put that PTO.
Oh
in,
wow!
No,
wow.
They try and get people. They trying to anything they can to get people to work that event. Guess who's still not going to work it?
I don't blame you. I hear you. All right, folks. We appreciate you. Y'all be good. God bless you.